Hey, my name is Matthew, and you're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Let's rewind a bit so I can show you what I did. This is Game Dev Week number 10. Let's get started. Up until now, I've reused the homing animation quite a bit, but for combat, the animations and responsiveness felt off. It's because I used a system where you could keep the action button pressed while standing still or moving, which would sometimes bug out the animation. That's why I hopped back into Adobe Animate and created animation loops for the sword and spear. To make combat more smooth, I opted for a simpler approach. Once you press the action button while holding the sword, you immediately attack and stay locked into the attack animation until it ends. Once testing it out, I immediately noticed the difference. Here you can see the sword has a broader attack, while the spear reaches further. The spear will also point in the direction the player is moving in. The only thing missing here was the boar's will to live. So I started working on the boar's intelligence. That means wandering around aimlessly, eating... hold on, wait a second. What do boars eat? So yeah, got a little sidetracked there. Okay, back to the boar. So I created 3 states of boar behavior. Scavenging for food, which means the boar will pathfind to the nearest food source, which in this case is blueberry. And number 2 is wandering around and do boar stuff like, oink. And number 3, getting revenge for all the abuse the boar has endured in the previous episode. This, however, was easier said than done, as I had to set up a lot of things on the technical side to make it work. Luckily, a lot of features are pre-made modules in Construct 3, like pathfinding, line of sight, collisions, and more. So while the basic blocks are there, I still had to make sure they were stacked correctly. That's where I stole Bethesda's homework, Skyrim in particular. You see, they're using a system called factions. To keep it short, in Skyrim, every NPC has an ID, a faction they belong to, their stats, and inventory. In my game, I used a similar setup. All NPCs will inherit the variables, which I can adjust for each member individually. I think combat will serve as an excellent example for what I mean. Now, see it as a calculation. The player deals 1 to 2 base damage. The sword has its own damage value and adds it to the player's base damage, and projects that onto the sword projectile. When the boar is hit, a check will be done to see if the boar belongs to the same faction as the player or not. If that's not the case, damage will be calculated by subtracting the boar's defense stat from the damage attached to the sword projectile, and that damage will be dealt. The nice thing is, this system is modular. I'll be able to add new characters or enemies easily. And as seen here, I've copied and pasted the boar many times, and it still works pretty good. Okay, that's going to be it for this week. I hoped I was going to be able to start on woodcutting and mining already, but preparation takes a lot more time than I expected. But no fret, I'm still right on schedule, because I don't foresee any problems with woodcutting or mining, which I plan on doing the next month. So stay tuned for that, but for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.